This is what smart people do. All smart people, they'd be like, because they know they got you. They look at the cam. So today we're going to be talking about Battlemages, or better yet, the lack of Battlemages. Now, League of Legends, they released a long time ago this champion list and categories for all of them. They had primaries and secondaries, and over time they've changed them, as they should. Champs have been reworked and changed, and a lot of things have happened to League. Now, today I'm going to talk about my favorite class. My favorite class is the Battlemages, and what they do is they're pseudo-tanky frontline mages that usually have low cast cooldown, short ranges, but not melee, but short ranges. They have defensive abilities, they do a lot of damage, but they're usually immobile. And that's what they are. They're like the AP version of bruisers. So anyway, I'm going to just go over the list of Battlemages that we have here. They're behind me. Maybe we can put them right over. Ooh, yeah, we can put them right here, and I can. Yeah, that's where they belong. So we have here Malzahar. Now, the issue is, I'm going to, actually, you know what? Let me just talk about the fact that there are many different types of mages, right? We have burst, assassins, artillery, which is poke, right? And we have, there's like, and then we have like the catchers, and we have enchanters, right? Those are like the 5 like AP types. There might be one I'm missing, but I'm not gonna go through all of them to tell you because I'm talking about Battlemages. Under the Battlemage section, we have Malzahar. Now, Malzahar is almost a Battlemage. Almost. He's in a pretty good spot. His ult, it's a short range move, CC. Battlemages generally, they either have CC or some other, whatever. It's just a form of a defensive measure. Now he has that ult, which is great. It's a short range move. His E is a short range move. These moves aren't spammable. They're not spammable naturally. But what actually happens with champs like Malzahar is that they just become poke mages. That's what he essentially turns into. He drops his Q from max range. He drops E on the minions. He lets the W do the work. He pushes the wave and he just backs up. And he never interacts with his opponent. He doesn't try to eat his opponent up. He functions more like, he functions like a normal burst mage, to be honest. Even though he does DOT, he ends up really just bursting you. He pokes you down, then he bursts you from there. And you know, a lot of League of Legends can be cut into that. The fact that because Battlemages, what they would do is, like bruisers, think of like Riven. How does Riven fight you? Riven, she pulls out her ult, and she all-ins you. She chases you all the way to your tower, skip, scop, hip hop, all over your character. Think about champs like Vladimir. What do? Because he's the last and only battle mage we have left. Vladimir, he looks at you, you hit like mid lane, mid wave, and he just ults you and all-ins you and chases you all the way to your tower and beyond. Because that's what's supposed to happen. Malzahar is not capable of that. Malzahar instead, he looks to grab bits of damage here and there at max range, because he's not durable enough to come and do battle. He's not capable of standing toe to toe with any other champ. Next on the list we have Karthus. I shouldn't have to explain to you why Karthus is not a battle mage. You guys probably thinking, but his E though, short range AoE. But what does Karthus actually do? Max range Q poke, because his character is so squishy that if he comes into contact with anyone else, they'll kill him. He'll die to anyone. And his damage is unreliable, which was not a thing with battle mages initially. This is like a new thing, because most of the champs, they're filled with counterplay. Counterplay is not a bad thing. Counterplay is great, actually. But for some champions, they've become okay with the fact that, well, the counterplay is to just not get into his range. That's what we do with a lot of other champs. But for these, we've just decided out of nowhere, everything has to be dodgeable on them. And that's fine. That's just the direction to take the game. I have no complaints on that. But that's how Karthus is played. Cassiopeia, she's kind of a battle mage, a little bit. She pokes you with the Qs, but she's one of those champs that's capable of all-inning you. But look at the state that she's in. Granted, she functions well when played in certain matchups. She's actually oppressive in certain matchups. She's not an all-around, rounded, well-thought-out character that can be picked into many compositions like some of the other champs. I'm gonna keep mentioning Vladimir. That champ busted. If you go look at my whoopie.gg, that's all I'm playing. He busted. We have Aurelion Sol. Literally not a battle mage. I don't know what the heck he is, but he's not a battle mage. He's an animal. He runs from his lane to yours, to there, and he's looking for picks. He's a catcher. That's what he is. And we didn't even talk about that. Anivia, she's a poke mage that has GA. That doesn't make you a battle mage. That's not how that works. So we have Swain. Swain was a battle mage. He was my favorite champ. You're gonna hear a lot of bias. But they took Swain. Actually, no, this is all factual information. They took Swain, they changed him, and now he's also another poke catcher type of champ. And beforehand, what Swain would do is, because when he was originally put in that role, before his rework, what he would do is he'd turn on his ult and he'd walk into the thick of battle. That's what he would do. He would stand there, he would get hit by people. He could take damage, dish out damage. He was a durable character because of his ult. Not anymore. Now his ult, it gives him like 5 health and another 5 health when he ults for every soul stack he has. And you know, he ends up with more health overall. Having 100 more health doesn't really make you that durable. It literally, I want to say it doesn't make you durable at all, but that's bad English. But you guys know what I mean. It's terrible. 100 HP is not gonna save you from anything. When Draven hits you twice with his axes and you die, like we live in a land where he's down the list, right? But I'm just going to mention him now, Vladimir. Right? We live in a land where he's our only battle mage left, sort of, right? But what has he really become? People stack full AP on him, and they aim to blast you. That's what the meta has shifted him towards doing. He's now a burst mage, like Annie, but with invincibility, because that's what his W is. We have Victor. That boy just poke you with E. Talia, poke you with Q. Rumble, actually a battle mage. He has all of the points checked. He has that shield, the defensive shield. He has a move that's spammable, which is all of them. They're spammable up until overheating anyway. And then he's just an all-around, he's an in-your-face champ. He chases you down. He activates his ult, and then he runs you all the way down into your tower, because that's what battle mages are supposed to do. They're supposed to succeed in these long engagements. They're supposed to fight you over time. They're not supposed to one-shot you. You're not supposed to one-shot them. No one's supposed to get one-shot when they're playing, unless they're head, like anyone else. We have Rise. Rise was also a battle mage up until literally one patch ago. They looked at him, and you know, even though he has a low win rate, but in pro play, he's pick ban because he's really powerful. He just takes, not only does he take teamwork, his ult's not that useful all alone, but he's a high skill cap champ. And the way he worked before was, he had these rune passives. And what they did was, when he got 2 of them, he gained movement speed and the shield. That was his survivability. Tick all the boxes. Sustained DPS, defensive options, short range. Those are the boxes to tick. And you're a battle mage now. Now for him, he had that shield and they took it from him. Because they needed a way to nerf pro play, and they buffed him in another way. A way that's kind of garbage to me, but whatever. They buffed him in another way. And now his E always spreads. Whereas beforehand he had the complex set of mechanics deciding what would happen. And now all he gets is movement speed though. Also his W doesn't root unless they have flux on it. And while he's more usable for the vast majority of the players, not only have they slapped his identity again, because they don't know what to do with him. And I understand, it's really hard to balance mid lane, because what happens is, mid lane, they kill you or they don't. They blow you up or they don't. They have no usefulness beyond that. Yeah, they might have CC, but what's the CC for? Killing you or not killing you. Like that's what it ends up being. So once they took away his shield, they unticked one of his boxes, no longer a battle mage. He has no survivability. Beforehand, he had the rework before this one, he had Spell Vamp on his ult. And back then, he didn't have that shield, but he had Spell Vamp. So he had some sort of survivability thing going on. That doesn't exist here anymore. Now, of all these champs, the only ones that have survivability are, or in combat survivability, right? I'm not gonna count GA, guys. Please. We have Cassiopeia, she heals while fighting. Swain heals while fighting, as long as his ult is on. Vladimir heals while fighting. Those are the only three left that even tick the box, but none of them are played in that fashion anymore. Now we have these other guys, these burst mages over here. Karma is, even at this point, she's considered burst mage, right? And in Enchantress, but she's more battle mage than all of my boys in the battle mage area. She has low cooldown spells that have to be maintained, and you have to decide, and you have to make a ton of decisions. Who do I shield? When am I shielding? What am I doing? How am I moving? And that doesn't exist anymore. Those shields make her durable. That we don't have that anymore. So my point here is that we have no more battle mages, and I don't know what to do about it. Now, I would suggest we give some of these guys their survivability back, because I read a post on how Riot decides to balance their champions. They give everyone a power budget, and every time they give them, let's say, a cool skill or something, the skill has a cost associated with it. I think that it would be fine to remove some of these champs' damage to give them survivability, just so we can have this AP bruiser type champ. So maybe in the future we might get some more of those. Maybe we won't. I'm hoping we will. If we do, I'll be a really hyped man. They're my favorite type of champion. They're my favorite archetype. They're the definition of doing the wrong thing. Grabbing a mage and running up into the front, that's the wrong thing. You don't do that. And they give everyone an opportunity to play the way they want to play. Every other role has things like that. We have assassin supports. We have range top laners, melee top laners. We got, what is it, Teemo as a range top laner. We got Quinn. We have all sorts of jungle diversity, but we're missing that in the mid lane. In the mid lane, you're playing poke or you're playing assassin. And I want the middle ground back, that's all.